Let me take you back to Wichita, Kansas, a seemingly quiet, unassuming place in the 1970s. Families lived their lives peacefully, locking their doors at night, but never really worrying about the evil that might already be inside their community. That peace was shattered in 1974 when a name began to haunt headlines and hearts alike. BTK wasn't just a name, it was a promise, an abbreviation for bend, torture, kill. The modus operandi of one of the most calculating and sadistic serial killers America has ever seen. Behind the letters was a man no one would have suspected. Dennis Rader, a family man, a church president, a Boy Scout leader, and a cold-blooded predator. The crimes begin. It all started on January 15, 1974. The Otero family, a mother, father, and 2 young children, were found murdered in their Wichita home. Joseph and Julie Otero, along with their 11-year-old son and 9-year-old daughter, Josephine, were bound, terrorized, and then killed in ways too gruesome to recount in detail. Rader left behind no obvious evidence, just fear, a terror that would grow as more bodies began to pile up. And he wasn't finished. Over the next 2 decades, Rader would claim 10 victims, targeting people who lived alone or were particularly vulnerable. Each murder was meticulously planned. Rader called them his projects. He would stalk his victims for weeks, learning their routines, plotting how he'd strike. For him, it wasn't just about killing, it was about control, power, and, disturbingly, the satisfaction of watching his victims' terror. The taunts. Here's where the BTK Killer became especially notorious. He didn't just kill, he wanted everyone to know he was killing. He wrote letters to newspapers, giving detailed accounts of his crimes and even signing them, BTK. He included gruesome drawings of the crime scenes and poems about his victims. These weren't desperate cries for attention. They were calculated moves to terrorize the city and mock the police. He wanted to be famous. And in the most chilling twist, he often stopped writing for years, only to resurface when people started to feel safe again. It was like he enjoyed reminding them, "I'm still here." A monster in plain sight. Now, here's the kicker. For over 30 years, Dennis Rader wasn't just hiding in plain sight. He was thriving. He had a wife, 2 kids, and a job as a compliance officer. He went to church every Sunday, even serving as president of his congregation. Imagine sitting next to a man in church, shaking his hand after service, never knowing he'd strangled someone to death just weeks before. He wasn't some disheveled, deranged loner. He was one of them. That's what makes his story so terrifying. He was the guy next door. The mistake that caught him. For years, Rader thought he was untouchable. He'd stopped killing after 1991, but resumed writing to the media in 2004. That would be his undoing. When he sent a floppy disk to a local news station, police traced the disk to a computer at his church, and just like that, the mask was ripped away. He was arrested in 2005, and when confronted, Rader confessed to everything. The chilling part. He spoke about his murders with zero remorse, describing them as projects, like he was talking about fixing a leaky faucet. The man showed no emotion, just pride in his work.